Hello and welcome to the Business Dashboard on City TV. My name is Bobie Osei. Coming up on the Business Dashboard today, Ameri deal to be withdrawn. Also, Bank of Ghana to punish its staff whose activities led to the revocation of licenses of 5 banks. Observers question credibility of Ghana Banking Awards after Bank of Ghana named some winners for poor corporate governance. Meanwhile, customers of New Consolidated Bank disappointed as they are unable to access their monies. And later on, we will tell you why demand for quail meat has shot up. Details of these stories, as well as exclusive interviews, analysis on trending business stories, coming up to our first story. Now, City Business News has gathered that the government is preparing to withdraw the new Ameri deal. The move is to enable government make some changes to the agreement before it will be put before Parliament again. This is expected to happen after Parliament returns from recess. There is more on this in the following report.
The need for a review follows Parliament's inability to consider the amendments of the Ameri deal before rising for recess on Saturday, July 28th. Addressing a press conference yesterday, a former Deputy Power Minister, John Jinapor, reiterated the concerns of critics, saying it is not justified for the government to push for a deal that would cost over $1 billion. Analysis indicates that the proposed amendments to the Ameri agreements will see a cash flow of $1.1 billion. But it is expected that the government would be paying a total of $1.37 billion for the Ameri power plants over approximately 18 years, instead of the original $510 million. The John Mahama administration in 2015 signed a contract with Africa and the Middle East Resources Investment Group, Ameri Energy, to rent the 300 megawatts of emergency power from Ameri. This was at the peak of the country's power crisis. Any decision taken by the government will feature prominently when Parliament resumes.
Meanwhile, the head of banking supervision at the Bank of Ghana said the insolvent banks obtained their licenses using suspicious and non-existent capital. Speaking on the City Breakfast Show, Mr. JC admitted that the central bank has had challenges supervising the banking industry.
We've had challenges in supervising these banks, and some of the challenges are internal challenges with respect to forbearance, failure to enforce the law, and failure to enforce regulations. We need to ensure that we go strictly by the law. We need to ensure that where there's the need to sanction people will be sanctioned. And here I'm not talking about just people in terms of those who work in the commercial banks, the key management staff and the directors and employees. No, I'm also talking about those of us who work in the central bank, and especially those of us in the banking supervision department. We also have rules of conduct that we have to ensure that we comply with, and people whose behavior falls short of these rules will be sanctioned appropriately.
So, even though the Bank of Ghana has cited the 5 banks it merged into Consolidated Bank for engaging in some wrongdoing, checks by City Business News has revealed that some of them were indeed awarded at the last edition of the Ghana Banking Awards. Some observers have questioned the due diligence that was done before the awards was given, since corporate governance is key. In the last edition of the Ghana Banking Awards, 33 banks competed for various awards. Anita Arthur brings you more in the following report.
Unibank, for instance, whose license has been revoked, got awards for categories in customer care, customer advisory service, long-term loan finance, corporate social responsibility, and best growing bank. This is contrary to the BOG's findings, which showed that shareholders of the bank had taken amounts totaling 5.3 billion Ghana cedis, which were neither granted through the normal credit delivery process nor reported as part of the bank's loan portfolio. This constitutes 75% of the bank's total assets. For the Royal Bank, which is one of the 5 banks that has been merged to form the Consolidated Bank, they had awards in Cashless Promotion Bank and the Retail Banking categories. However, according to the BOG's findings, its non-performing loans constitute 78.79% of total loans granted, owing to poor credit risk and liquidity risk management controls. Also, a number of the bank's transactions totaling 161.92 million cedis were entered with shareholders and related parties structured to circumvent single obligor limits under Act 930. Good corporate governance is a key criteria for giving the awards. Some observers are questioning if due diligence was done before the awards were given.
So, customers of the new consolidated bank, Ghana, have expressed mixed reaction to the revocation of licenses of 5 local banks by the Bank of Ghana. And some of the customers have resorted to withdrawing all their cash of uncertainty of their deposits. Now, in the following report, Pius Emihie Duku takes a look at how the banking industry is going to be affected as the central bank sanitizes the sector.
The Consolidated Bank Ghana Limited assumed management of the 5 banks whose licenses have been revoked on August 1, 2018. Barely 24 hours into its operations, and there are mixed expectations of customers of the affected banks. Unibank, Beige Bank, Sovereign Bank, the Royal Bank, and the Construction Bank ceased to operate. Their directors and shareholders have no control henceforth, but their staff are to be absorbed by the Consolidated Bank. Customers who had expected to transact early morning business were disappointed as the receiver, KPMG, and officials of the Bank of Ghana had to undertake an audit before commencing operations at 1 p.m. The offices will soon be open to
and they are not giving us the right issues as to what will affect our income, our savings. So personally, I came around to probably, withdraw my money. But I want to withdraw it and then later see how best, the banks can whether Bank of Ghana in any way can, bring something, sanity to the banks so that I can bring it back. But for now, I have to withdraw it. I have no option. My savings.
At exactly 1 p.m., the gate was open for us to enter, and I got in, and in less than 10 minutes, I'm served. They were asking me to still make deposit because from their looks, there's nothing. And my question I keep on asking is, even if I withdraw my money from here, where am I taking it to?
In all these, the central bank has cited the directors and shareholders of the 5 banks for various offences for which offenders will be duly sanctioned. Commenting on the task ahead of the new management, economist Professor Godfred Bokpin explained that the decision to eventually lay off workers and reduce the size of the 5 banks may perhaps qualify as the toughest.
In the immediate, the assumption is that there will be no job losses, but that is only in the immediate. In the medium to the long term, there will be restructuring. There will be the need to integrate HR issues, IT issues, and all of that. Certainly, for efficiency-wise, they cannot maintain all the branches. It makes no sense that Capital Bank branch is just here. This one is also here, Royal, Construction, whatever. So they will rationalize all of that. And in that process, there will be some job losses somewhere along the line. Others will have to take a pay cut to remain on the payroll. Others will have to take a haircut to be able to find their level in the banking system.
The ground rules have been set. 5 banks have been knocked off. We ask, are there any more to go? Time will definitely tell. For City News, I am Pius Emihie Duku.
Well, still to come on the business dashboard, more Ghanaians are opting for quail meat over chicken. We'll tell you more in the subsequent report when we return.
It's engaging, detailed, and loaded with factual and incisive analysis. It's The Big Issue, your preferred Saturday morning news and current affairs analysis program on City TV. Tune in this and every Saturday at 9 a.m. and hear the newsmakers discuss the top issues for the week.
At that time, Charlotte was complex. I'm not defending Charlotte. I'm talking about the way we behave like hypocrites and ostriches in this country. At that time, she was a perfect person.
It's The Big Issue with Stella Madonu on City TV. This and every Saturday at 9 a.m.
Wherever the weekend sporting action happened, we will bring it to you here on Scorecard. Every goal, every dunk, every punch, the winning strides, and the winning volleys.
International media, he said, look, wait, sit and wait. Let me have a meal with my people. And I think that's the same cool, it's the same organization he brings to the field every time I've seen him play. He looks to me like somebody who has played over 50 caps already. Okay. But this guy has barely played over 25 caps for the national team.
All of the weekend's action in one place. Scorecard every Sunday at 7:30 p.m. prompt on City TV.
You're welcome back to the Business Dashboard on City TV. Let's bring you some more stories. Now, the demand for quail meat and eggs has in recent times gone up. This has been shown with signages of quail eggs available here in most markets and homes. Now, with the enormous benefit associated with the consumption of quail meat and eggs, some stakeholders in the agriculture sector have observed that increasing its production will not only improve nutrition, but help create jobs for the teeming youth. Lawrence Segbefia visited a quail farm and brings you this report.
Located in the forest on the highway to Dodowa from Accra is a number of structures that house farmers and over 5,000 quails. The serenity of the place does not suggest the very serious business venture taking place here. Emmanuel Noah is a former commissioner at the Forestry Commission with decades of experience of managing the country's wildlife department. He is the owner of Quail Masters, the farm that is currently holding over 5,000 quails.
You see, this is a new project in this country. In other advanced countries, such as France, for example, one company alone has 25 million quails.
For Noah, the passion to replicate his action of quail farming across the country is aimed at creating more jobs and putting money in the pockets of people.
I've always been worried about the high rate of youth unemployment in this country, and for that matter, Africa. And I've always been attempting to find a solution or to help find a solution. I noticed one thing about the youth of today, that they do not have the patience to look for money. They want money now and right now.
Quail eggs are small with black spots on them. For those of you seeing it for the first time, you may mistakenly think it is spoiled or dirty. Far from that, that is the color of highly nutritious eggs. Quail eggs have nutritional values 5 times more than chicken eggs. It can be taken in its raw state or cooked before eating. It reduces high blood pressure, prevents prostate issues, prevents heart attack, and it is also a good source for boosting the IQ of children, among many other benefits.
As people take the eggs and the meat and they see improvement in their health status, they tell other friends, and they will see people start calling in, people start coming to find out more. But we need, as a nation, we now have to do a lot to disseminate information about quail farming, the prospects, and
even though quails grow faster compared to chickens and are more disease resistant, the sector is not devoid of challenges.
One of the challenges is high cost of feed, and there is feed specifically meant for quails, but unfortunately in this country we don't have feed formulated specifically for quails.
Edward Kariwe is the General Secretary of the General Agricultural Workers Union. For him, the prospects associated with quail production should provide enough motivation for government to invest there.
You know, you could just have your hen cook small one, then you have 2, 3. Before you realize I've multiplied, then you can produce according to your domestic consumption. So it can be used to feed households. Then first and foremost, and children need a lot of protein.
So, with the numerous benefits of coal production, some have urged government to consider investing into coal production. Perhaps this could reduce the huge import of poultry that comes into the country. Reporting for City News, Lawrence Segbefia.
Well, away from quail meat, let's focus on cocoa. And the Ghana Cocoa Board is confident it will be able to raise enough revenue from the 2018-2019 cocoa season to offset the about $1 billion debt accrued as a result of maintaining the cocoa producer price at 7,600 Ghana cedis this season. Government maintained the price it purchases cocoa from farmers despite a sharp drop in the price of the commodity on the world market. Ivory Coast, the world's biggest cocoa producer and Ghana's neighbor, cut farmers' pay for the 2017-2018 season by more than a third as forecast for a second annual global oversupply reduced prices. Speaking on the debt, the senior public affairs manager of Cocoa Board, Noah Menya, said a reduction of the cocoa producer price would have spelled doom for Ghana's cocoa sector.
Actually, Ghana is doing its business and Cote d'Ivoire is doing its business as well. We should not be putting the two businesses together because Cote d'Ivoire has done this, we should do that. Cote d'Ivoire reduced their price to reflect what was happening on the world market. And it is because Cote d'Ivoire's system is different from ours and they have a different system altogether for their cocoa production. We in Ghana maintained the price, and we did so because we had illegal mining to fight with. We have rubber, which is competing with cocoa lands to fight with. We had farmers whose productivity is low, in fact lower than that of Cote d'Ivoire, and therefore it will be a demotivation for us to reduce the price. And so government agreed that we should maintain the price as it is, and that difference between what the price should be and what the price is for the farmers is what has caused that 1.something billion deficit you're referring to. And if we didn't do that, the farmers would have been demotivated if we have reduced the price as Cote d'Ivoire did. They have been demotivated. Then illegal miners would have had more reason why they should approach them and let them and take their lands and for illegal mining. And that would have caused a damage on our industry. Yes, it means that Cocoa Board will have to put in a strategy that would enable us to pay off that deficit. And we will do so as the market appreciates. So we are doing all we can to get the market to go up, and therefore we'll be able to absorb that, let's say, that subsidy that was given to the farmers. Right. No, we have a number of strategies. I've already outlined some interventions that have been put in place, including improving local consumption, going to new markets. We are entering into the China market now. And as we do these things, the price would appreciate, and therefore we'll be able to write off whatever debts that we have on our books.
So the Ghana Investment Promotion Center, GIPC, is hopeful of meeting its target of $10 billion following its increase in business partnerships with prospecting countries. The GIPC last year recorded foreign direct investment of $4.9 billion as against a target of $5 billion. Speaking at a media engagement ahead of the Africa-Singapore Business Forum 2018, CEO of the GIPC, Mr. Yofi Grant, said businesses should take advantage of the opportunities to land their businesses in wider international markets. There is more in the following report.
As of 2010, trade between Ghana and Singapore hits an all-time high, crossing the $1 billion mark following delivery of the FPSO Kwame Nkrumah to aid oil production in the Jubilee field of Ghana. Speaking to the media ahead of the forum, Mr. Grants encouraged all businesses to take advantage of the forum.
We want to encourage redirecting a lot of our businesses away from the traditional markets into the new markets. I think it's very important and it offers a lot of opportunity. So we did encourage our business people that take advantage of this. It may cost a little bit of money, but at the end of the day, your business might even flourish much more than it was before. You get better opportunities, stronger opportunities, and like they say, the world is your stage. So we have to take advantage of it and make use for the benefit of our economy, and there too for the benefit of their economy.
On his part, the Regional Director for Enterprise Singapore, Ian Lee, said Ghana will greatly benefit from the opportunities that will arise for businesses at the forum.
What we usually do for this conference is for the Ghanaian businessmen that goes to Singapore, we do personalized B2B business matching, okay, and that's where they benefit a lot. So we need to know what are your businessmen's demands, interests, needs, and we match with the Singapore companies that's in this area. Okay. And then you have also opportunity to visit the site or visit the factory or visit the example, education institute or vocational institute.
The one-week forum, which is organized by Enterprise Singapore, will bring together over 500 business leaders from top companies to discuss topics such as oil and gas, digital economy, real estate, among others. Singaporean companies operating in Ghana include Olam International, Wilmar Africa, and Pacific International Lines.
Now, the Internal Audit Agency has bemoaned what it says is the poor remuneration of internal auditors within the public sector. This, the agency says, is the cause of the loopholes in the management of public funds. There is more in this report.
Internal auditors in the various public institutions are mandated to detect financial misappropriation, fraud, wastage and non-performance, among others, and make recommendations to management of these institutions on how to solve the problems. But it appears the corruption in these institutions is still high despite the work of the internal auditors. According to the Auditor General's 2017 report, the state lost over 892 million cedis due to financial irregularities in state institutions. Just like every taxpayer in the country, President Akufo-Addo is not satisfied with the work of internal auditors in the public sector.
With your indulgence, I intend to direct my comments to your role as internal auditors in the conduct and management of public finances. Maybe we should start with matters on which there appears to be general agreement. There is widespread dissatisfaction among the general public about the integrity of dealings in our public institutions.
But Director General of the Internal Audit Agency, Ransford Ajay, is pessimistic about the situation. He says without the necessary motivation, the work of internal auditors will be compromised.
Nobody in the public service or civil service will say that I'm well remunerated. But what I just want to say is that if you are the same professionals, you know, the internal auditors go through the same training. They are also chartered accountants, just as any other is. But in the public service, what we have seen is that those in the Ghana Audit Service who are chartered accountant, and who was here, then those are the control accountant general who are also chartered accountant. When you compare their salaries with that of the internal auditor, the difference is very, very wide. Why should that happen?
Mr. Ransford Ajay is, however, warning that audit officials who allow themselves to be swayed by other corrupt officers will be severely sanctioned. Obviously, if the internal auditors do their job judiciously, it will save the state millions of cedis. Hopefully, the 2018 Annual Internal Audit Conference, which is ongoing in Accra on the theme Leadership and Good Corporate Governance, will throw more light on why audit officials must be firm. For City News, I am Nana Oye Ankra.
Well, still to come on the business dashboard, AngloGold Ashanti returns to profit as it gradually moves out of South Africa. We'll be right back after the break.
Live music, interviews, poetry, and more with your favorite personalities. Be our guest on Saturdays from 2 to 4 p.m. for the most exciting moments on TV. Join Kojo Akoto Boateng for real entertainment right in your living room. Saturday Live on City TV and City 97.3 FM.
You're welcome back to the Business Dashboard. Let's bring you some international stories. AngloGold Ashanti says it has returned to profits in the first half of this year as the company realized better prices for its output and it exited some South African operations. Production climbed 4% to 1.959 million ounces from a year earlier, while the average gold price received rose by 6%. Headline earnings, which is the return on operational and capital investment activities, range from $91 million to $108 million between January and June. Also, some business groups in the United Kingdom are questioning the decision to raise the UK's monetary policy rate now, ahead of the UK agreeing a Brexit deal with the European Union. However, the governor of the Bank of England, Mark Carney, told the BBC that the Monetary Policy Committee, MPC, would lower the rate if the situation merited such a move. There are, quote, there are a variety of scenarios that can happen with Brexit, but in many of those scenarios, interest rates should be at least at these levels, and so this decision is consistent with that, end quote, he said. Now, Apple has become the world's first public company to be worth $1 trillion. The iPhone maker's market value reached the figure in late morning trading in New York as its shares rose to a new record high, above $207. The stock has been rising since Tuesday when it reported better than expected results for the 3 months to June. Apple beat Silicon Valley rivals such as Amazon and Microsoft to become the first to hit the $1 trillion valuation. Since the iPhone first went on sale in 2007, Apple shares have soared by 1,100% and have jumped almost a third in the past year. Well, that's it for Business Dashboard. For more business stories, do visit citybusinessnews.com. My name is Bobby Osei. Many thanks for your time. We'll come your way tomorrow with some more news from the world of business.